Source of abundance. We're talking about the source of abundance. And so I decided to look up the words, source and abundance. So source is the root, the cause, the origin, the seed, the womb. But where it got really exciting was when I got to the word abundance. Plenty, bountiful, luxurious, lavish, inexhaustible, and immeasurable. So what, yeah, exactly. So what in your, just took the whole thing, so it worked, it's still working. I just took it apart. It's still working. That's amazing. So what can you think of that you would say is inexhaustible, that you can't run out of? Speak it out, I can't hear you. God, love, abundance, peace. What about air? What about the ocean? You know, I mean, when I'm thinking inexhaustible and immeasurable, I mean, come on. How big can it get? As big as the galaxy, right? As big as the universe, exactly. So the source of our abundance is what causes us to experience lavish, bountiful, luxurious, plenty. Somebody said wealth is the ability to do what you want to do when you want to do it. So how's that working out for you? Because, and I hope you've all got this absolutely nailed, and you are so strong in every area of your life. And if that's so, that's really good news, because I can go home now, because you've already got it. What I've noticed in my own life is that, Reverend Dr. Mellon, who is the founder of the Global Truth Center in Westlake, teaches around the 4 legs of the table. So the 4 legs of the table are relationships, body or health, finances, and career or creative expression. So that's the 4 legs of your table. What I've noticed for myself is that I can honestly, truthfully say that 2 or 3 of my legs are really strong. One of them is also always a little wobbly. So I don't know which one I would say is wobbly today. So think about what of the 4 legs, relationship, finances, career, body, is the strongest for you right now? And which one do you want to work on? So you got to know that, so you know where you're going and you know what you want to work on. So in 2024, I found myself in the midst of a little financial squeeze. I found that I was running out of month before I was running out of money. And I decided to do something about it. So I signed up for an abundance class. I got John Randolph Price's abundance book. I did the 40 days. I got it, and then a good thing happened. I got my second housemate. That just about doubles my income. That was a yoo-hoo! And as an actress, I get residual checks for stuff I did for Star Trek in the 21st century in the 80s. And sometimes they're for 15 cents. And Edwene Gaines says, you don't say, that's not it. You say, here it comes! So when you find a penny on the sidewalk or a dime on the sidewalk, whatever, you don't say, that's not it. You go, here it comes. And then you get excited because your emotions are energy in motion. My emotions, say my emotions are energy in motion. And nothing will move unless you move it with your energy. And by that I mean your passion, your excitement, your joy, all of that good stuff. So I was getting residual checks, and they were coming almost every day. You know, $20, $40, $30. I was so happy and grateful because I could see that the abundance was coming. And then I got a call from my manager. So when I was in the hospital 4 times in 2020, I quit my career. I fired my agent. I took all the pictures back and stopped going out, all that kind of stuff. But my manager and I'd kind of become friends, so she'd call me every once in a while, like, no, not ready. Mm-mm. Because in the business, you got to know you can do a 12-hour day, and you've got to be at your peak performance every hour and every minute of that day. You kept phoning it in, right? And I knew this body wasn't ready. But I always said, if somebody asked for me, then I would do it. So somebody asked for me. So I had to do it. So I hadn't worked in 4 years, and I did the audition, and I didn't hear anything. So I was working with Rick Tamlin, who's the author of The Bigger Game, and he's the only person I told. Why? Because it's a shot in the dark. If you know anything about the business, if you know anything about auditioning, if you know anything about that, you know that you go and 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 go, and then you get something. You don't just do one audition after 4 years. And so he said, well, you didn't hear anything, huh? Guess you didn't hear anything about the... And I said, oh, they haven't decided yet. See, that's a turnaround. This is my old victim self. My old victim self would, yeah, I should have worn the green dress instead of the blue dress. And I should have parted my hair on the right instead of the left. It's all me, I know. But I didn't do that. I had a big turnaround. Huge breakthrough, huge. I said, they haven't decided yet. So 2 days later, my manager calls me, and we're talking about her kids and my kids and their kids and everybody's kids. And all of a sudden, she says, you got it. I said, what? She said, you got it. You got the, I said, 3 days on a feature film, SAG feature film, 3 days. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was the biggest joke, and talk about abundance. You know, it SAG, you're gonna make some money. I'm gonna get a few $1,000s. I'm jumping up and down. So I worked 3 days, 2 days 1 week, and then 1 day the following week, and it was heaven. It was heaven. It's a feature film about the, oh gosh, the Weezer band. The Weezer band was huge in the 90s, rock and roll kind of stuff. And so they did a tour it's a film within a film, so it's a documentary within a film. And so anyway, I got to meet all the guys, and I got to go to the home of the drummer, whose name is Pat, meet his wife, and we filmed in his home the last day. All of that I was on cloud 9. Then my manager, check came in, and my manager called. She said, you know, I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can have you work 2 days in 1 week and 1 day on the next. She said, I'm going to call SAG and find out. Guess what? They didn't book it right. They had to pay me for 2 full weeks. Hold on to your seat belt. The gross was $13,000. I put over $7,000 in my savings account. That's miraculous. Miraculous. So what could you borrow from my successful experience that you could apply right now to wherever you're at, to the situation that you're at? So I broke it down. And the first thing I wrote was that I made a decision, but that wasn't right. The first thing I did was pray. Pray for guidance. Because you don't know. When you're in the middle of it, you are in confusion land. You have no clue. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to call. You don't know where to go. Nothing. You're just like, blah, nothing. Neutral. Your car is in neutral. It's not going forward. It's not going back. It's just stuck. So the first thing I did is pray for guidance. And when I got it, I made a decision. I made a decision to do something about it. Now, your decision has to be unequivocal. No plan B to fall back on in case plan A doesn't work. You've got to decide that this is what you're doing no matter what. Say that with me. No matter what. You made that decision no matter what. And then, once I made the decision and got some guidance, then what did I have to do? I had to take action. I had to move my feet, you know, do your treatment and then move your feet. I had to move my feet. And so if you've done the first 2 steps, if you prayed and asked for guidance and you made a decision, then your next steps will just come. It'll be so easy. But here's the fourth thing that I added, consistency. So it's like exercising for your body. You know this. 20 minutes a day is better than 2 hours on Saturday. You can go in and sweat and say, oh man, I worked 2 hours. Look at me, look, not going to get the results that you want. 10 minutes a day is better than 2 hours on Saturday. So consistency, so I wrote out what I wanted, and I spoke it every night, and I spoke it every morning with what? Passion. Because like my Camry, I just got repaired. It was sounding like a bucket of bolts, and I was terrified it was going to fall apart on me. 2011, I bought it in 2014. Took it to my mechanic. He said, it's the compressor. He fixed it. It was a lot of money. And it sounds like a brand new car. I said, I'm driving to Bakersfield. I can't drive this bucket. I'm so thrilled. It's driving like a brand new car. But if I don't put gas in that brand new car, I'm not going to go anywhere. So the gas that you put in it is first your prayer, then your decision, and then your action and your consistency. The consistency will win the game for sure. So in the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price, he wrote this: your only source is the God presence within you, which Anne spoke of earlier. If your mind is focused on the source, the cause, your supply will flow freely. But if your mind is on the effect, you block the flow. So that's what happens. So it's saying that the less interested you are in where your money comes from, the more focused you'll be on the source, which is where all of it comes from, the God presence within you. So pray to that. Pray to the all that is, because the source is infinite in its miraculous ways to bring your good to you. I could not have dreamed up. First of all, I couldn't have dreamed 3 days in a feature film after having worked for 4 years. And secondly, who could have dreamed? I mean, I was thrilled with 3 days in a feature film. And you know why she did that? Because when I retired in 2020, I kept sending her commissions on every residual check I got. And I know I'm not legally bound to do that, but in my heart I am, because I wouldn't have had them if it hadn't been for her. So it was my joy to do that. So I stepped up my tithing, my consciousness around tithing, because I wanted to be certain that I was doing what I needed to do. So here's a quote by Dr. Christian Sorensen from Living from the Mountaintop that is the perfect definition for source energy. And it goes like this: the infinite is not bound by sequential unfoldment. So that means, 2 follows 1 and 3 follows 2 and 4th, A, B, C. It's not like that, is it? I went from no work for 4 years to 3 days on a feature film, just like that, boom, boom. So 1 minute you don't have it and the next minute you do. That's like this intuition that gives you information that you can't reason with in your mind. Your reasoning mind did not get you there. It all of a sudden says, oh, and then you're like, oh, the light bulb just went on. I could do that. I could call them. I could go there. I could go online. I could do some research. I could get that book. I could call a friend. I could do something like that. Absolutely. I love that.